Yo, what's up, guys? This is a video, man. Wanted to talk about trauma, just in the light or the wake of everything that's going on, not only with COVID, but of course the senseless and timeless violence within the African American community with people we're entrusted to take care of us. Those things can greatly impact us and be a traumatic situation. So I just want to enlighten people or enhance the knowledge or add to the knowledge of what people already have based on what is trauma, basically. So, to get into it, trauma is pretty much a response that are deeply disturbing or events that can cause you to be overwhelmed or affect your ability to cope, feel different things, such as helplessness, and it also diminish the sense of your ability to feel like a wide range of emotions. So, definitely want to do that. So, some of the emotional signals within trauma is, of course, the sadness, anger, fear, denial, and shame. You know, you started victimizing yourself for something that you may or may not even have control over. And of course, the sadness and stuff like that can lead you to resent yourself or, just feel victimized. So those things can lead to different nightmares, insomnia, difficulty with relationships, and emotional outbursts. So within those relationships, you may start to attract like trauma bonds to where it's not only just yourself within a traumatic situation, but your partner. So you guys start feeding off each other and want to heal together, or you guys started to develop a sense of grievance towards each other based on those traumatic events. So definitely want to open your eyes to those things. Trauma bonds is unreal. I'll get into that in a different segment. So to move on though, common physical symptoms of trauma, you can deal with the nausea, dizziness, altering sleep patterns, changing appetites, headache, gastrointestinal problems. A lot of people tend to overlook the physical symptoms and just think about the emotional and the mental signals of dealing with trauma. But yes, there are physical symptoms too. You know, people tend to be nervous um, or have those symptoms that I just outlined. So psychologically though, what people tend to gravitate to more or immediately think about is, of course, PTSD, acute stress disorder, depression, anxiety. Those things can then lead to substance use, and of course, dissociative disorders as well. So the difference between acute stress disorder and PTSD is, to be real with you, a lot of people are not going to be impacted or traumatized by an event and it will lead to PTSD. But since the event occurred and you have some of the symptoms that we discussed previously, those things can have an impact on you within a certain amount of weeks or up to a month, and then that's when it's acute stress disorder. Anything outside of a month or after a month, you still having those symptoms. Clinically, we tend to associate those with post-traumatic stress disorder. That's where you get PTSD. So anything before a month, a couple weeks up to a month is acute. Anything outside of that month is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. So again, those symptoms last a month, and it really impacts people, man. Some people can escalate that traumatic situation just out of nowhere. So a month go by, a year go by, 6 months, 2 years go by, and then all of a sudden, it's a panic attack or feeling isolated, depressed, and now have suicidal thoughts just because of probably smell or seeing something that triggers the event that you had that caused the PTSD or the post reaction. Um, so when you're talking about trauma too, you got to remember that sometimes people classify it as small T's and big T's. So some of the small T examples is some that's life changing, such as getting a new job or being transferred, work conflict, stress, legal issues, custody battles for some men out there, infidelity, divorce. Like some of those, sometimes people classify those things as small T's. Some of the big T's that we tend to be impacted as a unit, as a whole, or as a country, of course, the Hurricane Katrina's, the terrorist attack, the shootings within the community of unarmed African Americans, and just violence in itself. Um, And one thing to note, trauma or PTSD or any of those things don't have to happen to you directly. It's something that you can witness. And that's important because a lot of people don't know that or assume that since you didn't feel it, you didn't get hit by the car or you didn't get shot, but you observed it, you was there. So you too can be impacted traumatically, and it can be acute or it can escalate to PTSD. So it's no real cure for trauma, but it is some, I guess, remedies and some things to assist you in your walk of healing. Um, so of course we got the psychotherapies, which I'm a fan of. CBT, which is cognitive behavior therapy. There's different exercises in there that one can do. And of course something that has been phenomenal within the past couple of years is EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization, desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR. Sorry for that, got caught up there. But it assists with repressing those memories and the events that occur with surrounding them. There's so much research out there, so you guys do that on your own. But it also is on my website. There's different links to different resources and stuff like that. Back to it though, you can get hypnotized. That has seemed to be assisting different people, and of course mindfulness, trauma sensitive yoga, restoration yoga. And if it's too severe, you don't want to deal with it, or it's impacting you or impairing you on a day-to-day function, feel free to get antidepressants. But it's so many other ways to lessen the symptoms and or make them more manageable. But as far as a cure, as far as not reliving them or not having them to be as impactful, it's difficult to say there is a cure out there. So again, that was on trauma. We touched on a few things such as symptoms, not only psychologically but physically. We touched acute stress disorder, PTSD. So if you have any questions, hit me up, men2heal.com, IG men_TO_HEAL. Again, on my website, there's definitely a list of resources if you need it. If you're looking for a therapist, definitely go to Psychology Today. You can pretty much set the criteria for who you're seeking. If you need other resources or want immediate resources, you also can go to NAMI.org and put in your zip code. And again, they have an abundance of resources as well, such as housing, shelter, different hotlines and stuff like that. So NAMI.org, Psychology Today, and my website, men2heal.com. Appreciate you for tuning in. You guys stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the summer. And traumatic events, we also can associate some of the things that are coming from COVID. So yes, those things can be traumatic in itself. So again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you learned some, or hopefully you enhanced the knowledge that you already had based around trauma. Appreciate you.